Hello, my students. This is Miss Sarah, and I am going to do a demonstration of light painting to help with your assignment. Let's begin. I apologize for the location. We're going to be doing it in my bathroom, but I think it gives you some good examples of the real world, application for you to do this at home independently. Okay, so what we're looking at is I have my digital SLR camera on a tripod. Now, this camera is a Canon Rebel, and like I said, it's a digital SLR camera, which means that you can adjust the shutter speed. So on top here is where you're going to do that, and you're going to set the camera on manual so you can change the shutter speed. Now, you can do this with other cameras. I have here this Fujifilm camera, a point and shoot camera. You can do something like this with, but you would have to put it in the menu. You would have to change it to the night scene or the fireworks scene, something with a slow shutter. That's really the best that you can come by for this. Also, with an iPhone or iPad, there are apps available that allow you to use your camera app on a manual function, so you can change your shutter speed and slow it down. I just comment below if you'd like to know more about those apps, and I will get you that information on the names of the apps. I did download a few. They were free. They work really well. In that case, you would need something to hold your iPhone or device steady, like this tripod that I have here that you see here. This is one option for you. This is a very inexpensive small tripod. You're going to have to research where to find this, but I believe this cost me like $5. You can also, like right now, I'm filming you on my iPhone, and I have the iPhone just held up with a heavy object behind it on a stool. I'm here on a stool, the same size stool here, and let me show you what light painting is all about. I want to try to make this as DIY as possible so that you don't have to spend too much money. For example, this tripod that I have my digital SLR camera on is a Sunpack 5200D. It's probably a $30 plastic tripod. They sell all different types of these tripods. I would recommend, if you're going to go with this option, of course it's best to have a more professional tripod that's metal. When I was working as a commercial photographer, I had something called a pistol grip on top of a Bogan tripod. I no longer have that, but it's I'm just trying to save money where I can, so I use this plastic tripod. It's not just as good, but not a terrible option. It's better than nothing. And one other thing I want to show you too, like I have this expensive flash unit, which is a Canon 430EX2. It's a really nice professional style flash to go on camera. But what I did was, as a diffuser, if you want to take a look at that, I just cut a hole on the top of a plastic container with a X-Acto knife, and I made it into a diffuser. And you can actually open this up, remove this, and change this color here. So that's a really good tip. I have a lot of old manual flashes. You can buy them at like yard sales, or ask your older relatives if they have any old flash units from a lot of this stuff too. You could just ask around, like with the tripod. I'm sure you have a family member or a friend who's willing to borrow, to lend it to you. When you can change the color of the light in this light painting exercise, it makes much more beautiful, interesting pictures. And some ways that you can do that, again, DIY style at home, is you can find different color tissue paper, to put inside here. You know, you could use something like this over even a flashlight, you know, a high-powered flashlight. So collect these items from your people you know and around your house. You know, what you can spend, you know, maybe just a few dollars for a basic tripod if you can't get one on loan. It's definitely worth it. So spend some time preparing for this assignment. One other thing I want to show you is these are called gels, photography gels, and I have a pack of this. You know, this was from like a camera store where they were selling these gels, and this is like a sample pack. So, you know, any way that you can get like a colored film like this would be very helpful, in different vibrant colors. Now, some DIY options to that would be, I collected some of these plastic bags, as they call them in Ghana, parletin, different blue, yellow, and red. You know, this would really be a good option, because with the colored paper, it does cut down on the light a little bit. It makes it more opaque, and it dims the light. So, you know, you really want a nice bright light. And these plastic bags, they're almost see-through, right? They're translucent, more so than the paper. Okay, so I think that's basically all the prep that you would have to do. Again, you know, I can, if you want, comment below and ask me for a supply list, and I can type that out for you. But well, let's just begin, because I don't have too much time. I would like you to be able to see sort of what's happening here, if possible, and I can move the camera to show you that. Now, you know, I thought for a little while about who or what I wanted to photograph, the subject of my photograph, and I, in the end, chose myself, but it may not be so easy for you as a beginner. Maybe you want to start with like a large stuffed animal, or some kind of inanimate object that doesn't move and is kind of large, because it's good for you to have like a whole scene. I would say the minimum space that you want to work in is like this bathroom here, which is about 4 feet wide. Anything smaller than this, it's going to be difficult for you to, you know, see your results. You're going to be seeing, you know, the light, you're firing the light, or that you're using the flashlight to light paint, but it's outside of the frame. So I would suggest a little bit of a larger space, especially if this is, you know, you're still a beginner at light painting. The last thing I want to talk to you about is the light source. There's two different types of light sources. There's direct, when you're pointing the light directly at the camera, and then there's reflective, when you're pointing it at the subject, and you're, you know, depending on the light to reflect off the subject to expose what you're trying to show. You know, the first objective in light painting is finding the right exposure, and that's what we're going to do now. And what exposure really is that, you know, that the picture turns out correctly, that you can see details in the darks and in the lights. A properly exposed picture will have both white and black and all of the grayscale in between, and details in all of that. You know, you really want to try to work towards that, perfecting that. So what I set my camera to is, you know, normally in the classroom, this would be a group activity. So you could definitely invite your friends and your families to join in, have them watch the video, and do it together. That's really the best way. But here I am all alone, and I set my shutter speed to 30 seconds. So I'm going to have to work fast, and I'm going to, like I said, do the two different light sources, the reflective and direct. And the last thing I want to mention is, before I start taking the picture, I set the focus on manual. Those of you who can control your focus on your lens, definitely push it into manual and focus it while it's on the tripod on where the subject is going to be. I can talk more about that later if you want, but just trust me on that. So here I go. I'm going to press the shutter speed now, and I'm going to turn on my flash, and it's taking the picture. So I'm going to use the flash to light myself. And then I'm gonna use this to sort of draw around me, okay? And you see how I'm facing it towards the camera. And actually, the room is not totally dark, and the reason why I did that was so that you could really see in the video. But it may not be necessary because I can adjust the shutter speed and actually the aperture to, so now you can see here, and it's a little bit, I think it's too bright, it's overexposed, that's what we don't want. But it's a lot about experimentation when I do light painting. So let's just take a look really quick here. So you can see it's totally blown out. I mean, it's hard to see in the video, but there is some detail there. Yeah, there you go. There is some detail there, you see that? But what I'm gonna have to do is, right now, I started taking a picture. Right now, the shutter speed is at 30th of a second and it's at f5. So I'm gonna close down the aperture so that it's more like f11. And here's where your photography skills really start to expand. And what that does is it lets less light in, right? When you close down the aperture. So the only thing I didn't like so much was that you couldn't see my head in the picture. So let me just make that adjustment. And let's just try it again very quickly. Tracing myself with a direct light source, trying to create some interesting effects. And it seems like the 30 seconds is a long time. I'm pretty much finished. I mean, I could get really creative with this, but I think I'm just trying to show you the gist of it. And I think because of all the light around here, let me just try to shut out on the light. It's exposing me more. I'm going to do one last one, and I'm going to change it to, let's change it to 15 seconds. And actually, I'm going to go as much as I can. I'm going to go to F22. All right, let's see it. Hopefully this will be the last one. Out because the last one I'll show you. Okay. Let's take a look together. I don't really see my face at all, my whole body, and I know that that's strange. And this one is sort of a big blur. That's why I wanted to move, you know. It is a little bit better in focus. It's hard to see in the video, but why don't you give it a try now and just try it in a darker room. You know, you want to try to cut out as much light as you can. Anything that you light, you do not want to go back to. And again, it might be best for you to start with an inanimate object. That's why you have so much image blur with me, because I'm moving around. It's hard for anyone to, you know, stay still. All right, get to work and good job.